3. Let's go.
Welcome to the Balcony AUX Chord podcast.
Let's go. Balcony AUX Chord.
Balcony AUX Chord.
Welcome back to the Balcony AUX Chord podcast. You're back again with me, Mark, and Findy.
Right.
For anyone who doesn't know who we are the Balcony AUX Chord crew. And the idea of the podcast is to bring our weekly chill sessions to the internet. And what I mean by this is that every week we used to hang out on my balcony. We used to listen to music, look out into the world, talk philosophy, talk life. And normally we would nerd out to music. The idea of this podcast was to talk about music, but it has grown organically into a podcast where two friends just get to catch up. So it's great to be here with you, Findy. And today we have a special guest with us. We have Michael here. And Findy, you have a friend with you too.
I have Steve. This is Steve.
Nice. Yeah, so we'll be talking to Michael and Steve today.
This is Steve.
We'll be talking to them today.
Steve is a stormtrooper
and,
from
hopefully
the Empire.
they can provide us. Yeah, and hopefully we can get some insight from them as well as to the discussion, how the discussion goes. So, Finny, how are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm just hanging out with Steve, man. Me and Steve been doing nothing all day. We've just been chilling. What did we have for lunch today again, Steve? Oh, pizza? Yeah, Steve and I had pizza for lunch. Yeah, it was quite good. Yeah, we got cheese pizza.
What did Steve have?
I had a cheese pizza and Steve had a pepperoni. Yeah.
Pepperoni, man.
Yeah, we did it. We did like a half pizza. We ordered from Domino's. And so half of it was pepperoni and the other half was cheese. And Steve ate the pepperoni part. He ate all of it. What a fucking beast. I still have like 2 slices left in the fridge. What about you guys?
I've never talked to Michael before.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's kind of weird.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, but thank you, Michael, for being on this podcast. We'll be discussing more with you. Just stay quiet for a little bit. For the audio listeners, this might make no sense to you. So check out our YouTube channel to see what's actually happening right now. To see what's on screen and who Michael and Steve are. Anyhow, Findy, how have you been?
I've been good, man. Good is a strong word for what I'm experiencing right now. It's more so just like a straight line, which is kind of nice.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I've been. How about you? What have you been doing? Busy?
Yeah, as always. I don't know what else to say so that it's not repeating myself in the past.
Yeah, I know. It's the same every podcast we go like every podcast like how are you doing, Findy? I've just been chilling. What are you, Mark? Yeah, I've been busy. That's it.
I've been busy. A lot of work, lot of essay writing. A lot of people want stuff from me. I don't have time. But glad to make time out of my week to talk to you. It's always nice. Yeah, I guess let's just jump into it. And I have a lot on my mind. And today is Tuesday, which
Tuesday,
meaning that we've already heard news from Myanmar or Burma that they've had a political coup. That's been on my mind. I don't mean to make it super heavy or anything, but it's troubling, and it's interesting. To be honest, it was not out of the blue. I kind of knew it was happening at some point, just because how things have been in Myanmar, Burma, Yeah, for people who are
give them a rundown
off the video right now.
Give them a rundown first of Just like the political
yeah.
situation in the last decade.
Oh,
Like,
that. Right.
don't just jump
before that,
into
I was
it.
gonna give you a rundown of the podcast before you fucking like exit.
We
the
already
screen.
ran down the podcast.
Stop listening. No, I want to talk about the Beatles as well, but I will talk about that in a little bit. But
okay.
So Myanmar, Burma, they've experienced like military government for the past like 40, 50, I don't know, like there's a long time, many decades essentially.
A long
right?
time. Yeah.
And I mean after Aung San Suu Kyi's dad died, that was like the period of military rule.
They just took over.
I mean it was like a long-term military ruling, right? Like regime. And recently Aung San Suu Kyi was elected into the House, right?
Yes.
And I mean in the first run of it, like she was given a lot of hate. Even like the Canadians revoked her citizenship basically because she wasn't like she didn't play the game that they thought she would play.
Yeah, so
which
basically,
is like the human rights way.
Yeah, she was a longtime advocate of like human rights in Burma, and she has been like prosecuted, like put on like house arrest and shit by like the Burmese government. But then, her party came into power after like a democratic election.
Yeah.
But basically, there was just a lot of issues about how she dealt with like refugees and stuff. Like she won a Nobel Peace Prize and shit. And it was just like, so she won a Nobel Peace Prize, but when she came into power, she didn't really do much for the Rohingya refugee situation. Right. And so people were just like, man, what the fuck? Like, the fuck are you doing, man?
Basically,
like,
what the fuck? Yeah. And it sucks, but also as a political scientist, you kind of like you kind of anticipate that. You get why, like because like at the end of the day, like she has her hands tied. Like it's like it's still a military government at its core, right? But like she's like there as like a press thing, like PR in terms of like, hey, like figurehead. Hey, we have your people in the house, all right? We're listening to you, but actually everything's still pulled by the military. Still, and this most recent election. In November, I believe the numbers were Aung San's party, the NLD, I believe, won by 80% of the House, which is ridiculous. It's like a landslide, right?
That's not.
And so the military came out and it was like, yo, that's fraud. Like, that's like election fraud, basically, right? Which they've probably committed themselves for decades. Let's be honest, right?
Fucking classic. Yeah.
So it was a classic example of being like, hey, oh, like Trump, like, oh, I lost, so you did it.
So
like,
it must have
fraudulent.
So it must have been fraud.
Yeah,
fucking
like what else can you say? Like it's fucked. Like I feel like and like yesterday in Thailand, we have a huge Burmese diaspora here, in Thailand, and this is migrant workers, all that stuff. But they were protesting in front of the Burmese. Myanmar embassy.
Myanmar? What
I don't even know. I was trying to think of it too. Myanmar.
Myanmar? Burmese?
Yeah, I don't know, man. But there was some fighting. There was some confrontation between Thai police and the protesters. I believe it was just, in my opinion, it reflects a lot of what has happened in Thailand as well with the coups and military power and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think it was a mix. I mean, obviously the majority of the protesters were Burmese.
Oh, it was mostly Burmese people, right?
Yeah, but I believe there's a lot of like human rights activists. People? Yeah, and also like, let's like Thai Three Finger youth members probably there too.
Yeah. Because it does like you said, it does like parallel a little bit the situation in Thailand. Yeah. Like definitely. Like I feel like those protesters who go like the youth movement and stuff in Thailand, you see a parallel between the fucking military government in Thailand. Yeah. And the military government over there. So it was like a thing. Right. But I still don't get why they started fighting. Yeah.
Like, I think to be honest with you, I think it is fair for the police to go in and control the situation. In my opinion,
Just 'cause
I don't
of
think they
COVID,
should.
though.
It should have escalated. Yeah, this is because of COVID. Because Thailand's pretty fucked right now, and
Yeah.
obviously I don't advocate for violence. I don't wish the police to go in with a violent attitude. I think they should go in with like a maintaining order attitude though, in terms of like calming them down and dispersing the people, because it was getting a little
Was it
violent.
rowdy? I haven't.
Yeah.
I just saw.
I
just
mean,
saw that.
dude.
I just saw that there was something and there was like confrontation, and then I was
Yeah,
just so
no.
confused. I was like,
Yeah, I was confused
Okay.
too. I was like, "What are you guys doing? Like, well,
Yeah.
what's the issue here?" Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's being reported as much, to be honest with you.
yeah,
I mean, I saw like dudes throwing kind of like spears, like pipes, basically into like the police
fuck,
crowd.
man?
I'm like, what the hell is happening right now?
okay, that didn't really even happen to like a lot when they were protesting like shit in Thailand,
Right.
like shit, like our own
Yeah.
shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is like
I don't
our
know, man.
neighbors. Like,
Yeah.
it's weird.
I have no idea. But, I hope everyone is safe. I wish no harm was caused to anyone.
yeah.
But it's an interesting time right now in Thailand because we're neighbors, and like it's quite important. There's a huge population here in Thailand, so we gotta care. We can't we can't afford not caring anymore,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
we've had like a racist mentality to Burmese people for
Yeah, it's
a
fucked.
long time now.
It's actually fucked.
It's pretty fucked. But
pretty
I think it is important to care. Because it's about damn time, man. It's about damn time.
Damn time for
And
what?
Damn time to start understanding each other. Because
Yeah,
we
right.
have the same problems. We're the same. People are the same, man. Like, we just have to understand that people are going through shit, right? And it's not a race thing, man. Like, literally, like we're all human. And like, because the Thai I guess Thai culture, Thai society, Thai government has written a narrative in a way that makes the Burmese the enemy because of like historical conflict between our countries. And that's part of the nation building narrative that they want to have, right? It's like our great kings managed to fight back
Of the Burmese,
horde of barbarians, essentially, right? And I feel like it's about time we start empathizing and actually, understanding
Yes.
people's problems.
Yeah.
But anyhow, if you have any thoughts about that, I think I've already talked too much about it.
It's like, no, it's an interesting situation, man. It's just like the fight for democracy and the fight against like military sort of dictatorship in our region of the world. Like, it's a thing, man. Like,
Yeah.
like the military coming in and like fucking taking over is a thing there.
Yeah.
Like, it's a thing where
It's
we're
like
from.
a normal thing. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
what?
Yeah.
the one thing that is quite
To
like
this day.
it's like it was quite clear that it was quite like coercive is that they shut down all like communications in Myanmar. Like
Oh my
once the coup
gosh.
hit, I mean that's the strategy though, right? That's the
Yeah.
point of it.
Yeah.
Is to shut off all mobilizing efforts, right? So
Yeah.
it makes sense from a military standpoint, but
Yeah. It's still
it's
fucked,
quite
though.
it's quite fucked.
It's still fucked.
It's quite coercive in nature, and we don't want that. We don't want to see that.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, in like, why did what triggered the event? Because obviously, like, I'm not really well versed in like Burmese politics, obviously. But
Right.
what caused the event? Like, shouldn't they be more so careful? Just because, like, I don't know, like the new administration in the U.S. and stuff like that. So like, I felt that like, okay, like after the Democrats like took power and like politics is probably gonna kind of return to normal
Restabilizing?
for the superpower, that I thought like shit like this would be less, like there would be less shit like this.
You would think that, right?
You would think
But
that exactly.
I don't think that's I mean, Myanmar
Is
has been
it-
a country that has been closed off to the world for so long, so I don't
Yeah.
think they care too much.
care,
and they're
right?
best friends with China now, so it's like, fuck you, right? Like, who the fuck
yeah,
cares
yeah.
about the U.S.?
Yeah, it's actually
Like,
true. The U.S. has internal problems to worry about. Like,
yeah,
honestly,
definitely. At this point, they have to fix their own shit first, right?
they have to fix their own shit first.
But in terms of the triggering point, I don't think there was a triggering point, but I
I think,
believe
was it just like
I
the
believe
military
Monday.
just-
So Monday was the first day of the new house. Like they were meeting for the first time.
Okay.
And I'm guessing, okay, like from November till now, they were probably trying to legally kind of approach it in terms of like disbanding the Aung San party, right?
Yeah.
In terms of like fraudulent elections. So
Yeah.
I guess that didn't come
It
to
didn't
anything.
come through,
and,
yeah.
And so it was like,
They
cool,
were just
fuck
like,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm guessing that's probably the case.
Yeah.
And,
It'd be interesting
right?
to learn more about it for sure.
Yeah, and like I mean, like obviously countries like Australia, who has a stake in the region. And I'm not talking about them beefsteaks. But they've come out yesterday and they were like, yeah, release Aung San, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, release her.
Yeah. But there's no point in listening, honestly. Like as long as they remain buddies with China, you know, you can do anything.
I think so too. So, you know, that it is what it is. But you know, interesting times to live in. I hope it doesn't escalate into anything violent. Thankfully, the NLD leaders in Myanmar have called for calm and peace within their people, with their followers. I mean, and it's been at least I've heard pretty peaceful in terms of takeover, which is good to hear because you don't coups don't normally end off in peaceful results, you know.
Unless
Thailand's always
fucking
peaceful
Thailand.
for some reason.
Yo, remember
everywhere
when,
else in the world is like always death.
Remember in 2014 when the coup to take out the Shinawat was like a thing?
Yeah.
I remember that they were debating on whether they should cancel exams or not. Like it was normal. Like there were tanks
Yeah,
like
it wasn't like a big deal.
Yeah, there were tanks in downtown, but like IB exams were still going on and shit. Like
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when we were kids. I was like, what was this? Like 2006? I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh, it was
but
okay. Yeah, it
the
was
first one,
2006.
the first coup. The first coup
Big
that we
Brother.
were part of.
Yeah.
The Big Brother toxin. And I remember it was like everyone was like, yes, we have school off. like no one cared. Like no one thought it was like a dangerous situation. Everyone was like, yo, like we have a week off of school. Like that's great. Like there's tanks on the streets, but you know, let's go take photos with them. Let's go.
It was sick. Oh my goodness. That's Thailand for you, man.
That's Thailand. Like, not to. I'm definitely not a supporter of coups. Let's be.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
like not military government. No.
But to just to share with you guys our experience growing up in a coup state, basically, right?
Yeah.
Like
it was
I feel like
I think we've been through
a quarter
two
of
already.
my life. A quarter of my life has been in a coup.
We've been through two already. Yeah.
We've been through two, and I'm 23, 34.
And I'm 23. Yeah. And it's the same thing. It's literally the same story. It's like the same party came into power, and then the military is like, okay, no. And then his sister was like prime minister, and then the military was like, nope. And then till this day,
exactly.
It's been 7 years?
I think that's probably why there's like a parallel, and people see that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's like a cycle, right? It's like military power still exists, continues, nothing changes. Yeah, man. It's let's move on. I feel like anyone who still cares about it very much.
Yeah.
And we want to hear more from you guys about it. But
I wish we had Burmese.
It's a little heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. What do you do? You were so Mark opened the count. So like I opened the video chat with Mark, and he was just like, "Yo, man, I've been listening to the Beatles a lot." And I was like, "Okay, why have you been listening to the Beatles? What brought that up?"
Okay. We'll
talk about music for a bit.
Yeah, let's talk about music for a little bit, since this is a music podcast. So Peter Jackson has come out to announce, not recently, just like maybe like a month or two ago, that he's making a documentary film about the Beatles, and it's based on footage that has never been seen before. 56 hours worth of footage of the Beatles, which is like stuff is like behind the scenes when they were writing their music, when they were like jamming out in their like studios and stuff like that. And it looks amazing because like you see the Beatles right on the surface, and we're all obviously a lot younger, and it's before our time.
It's before our parents' time.
So yeah, exactly, right. So when you see the Beatles, you see them on like I don't know, like the Daily Show, like the Tonight Show, playing their music, right? Like on TV, because that was like the only medium where it kind of recorded them live. Or like maybe interviews here and there, controversial ones, like Yoko Ono and John Lennon talking, stuff like those stuff, like big videos, right?
But this is more personal,
This is more personal, and like he came out with he didn't call it a teaser or a trailer, but he came out with like a montage. He called it a montage of like the spirit of what his film wants to be. And it was basically, if I were to compare it, it's kind of like a collection of Snapchats, stories.
Oh, that's sick. That's sick.
So it's like the essence or like the spirit of the band itself, which is like awesome, right? Like you don't get to see that a lot, I think.
Yeah.
And I fell down a whole rabbit hole of like Beatles and Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton.
What's your favorite era of the Beatles? Like what album? Like
I was thinking
like
about
the more
it, right?
hippie, the older ones.
Right. I was thinking about it recently, and I think I'm kind of mixed here. So I appreciate most the Sgt. Pepper era of experimental kind of like
this did a lot of acid.
They're
man.
just
It was
like
sick.
experimenting, right? Yeah. But I think in terms of what makes the Beatles iconic to me and makes them like the music that I love, it's the lovey-dovey cute boy shit in the beginning where like,
oh shit, really?
I wanna hold your hand.
Oh, you like that?
Like to me, that's the iconic part of the Beatles. But I think as someone who loves music, I appreciate the latter half of their career more.
So musically,
The
you like the newer stuff.
Yeah.
But like as the concept or the idea of the Beatles from like the beginning.
Exactly. Which I think is fair because I think they got their fame from the first few years, Like they most of their hits, at least the more mainstream ones, were like the lovey-dovey poppy ones. And then they were like, I don't give a shit, man. I'm gonna write whatever I want. And then it became super.
It was sick.
They were exploring.
Beatles
music and
sick.
expanding it. Yeah,
The Beatles was actually so sick.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I was listening to how they were operating in terms of band dynamics, and it's fascinating to me how Paul and John just had their own best friend thing, right? And they wrote music together. Like they were like kind of like they ended each other's sentences basically, right? They were like BFFs. And then they would write something and then they would come into the recording studio without telling George or Ringo anything and be like, "Hey, we wrote a song, make it happen." Like, what the fuck? Like that's kind of a dick move. Like in terms of like managing a team, like that's a dick move in my opinion. It's I've written something, now you execute it. Like you can add in a little bit, but like not too much because this is my song. And like apparently for each album, right? I didn't know this either, but Ringo and George had a quota on each album. How much they can add on, or like it's their song, quote unquote their song. So they only had like one each for each album, or like two each. Or something.
George Harrison is an amazing musician, though.
Yeah,
like his solo shit. Ringo is like Ringo's Ringo. Guy. You know what I mean? He's kind of a meme. Really.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Like Ringo is just kind of there.
I was Dude, he fucking came out recently saying that he doesn't want any fan mail. He was like, after August the 20th, October 20th, please do not send any fan mail. I will not be reading any fan mail. Like, what the fuck?
Bro, this is like, fuck you.
Yeah,
Nobody gives a shit,
Ringo's
Ringo.
Interesting guy. But I thought the dynamic of the group was kind of weird, in my opinion. Like, I was like, no wonder you guys broke up. Like, there's so many egos. Like Paul and John, obviously the biggest egos. That's why they're the face of it, right? But like, I mean, obviously they're all geniuses in their own right, apart from Ringo.
Fuck Ringo, honestly. It's kind of useless.
Yo, my dad told me that
was that thing. It was like, what was that thing you were saying the other time? I remember, and it was just like, oh, like, who's the best drummer in the Beatles? And it was like, not Ringo. Like,
yeah. John Lennon apparently said that like Ringo isn't even the best drummer in the band.
Yeah.
That's savage as fuck, man.
Yeah.
But my dad told me that one of his dogs when he was growing up was called Ringo. It's a fun fact.
Nice.
That's about it.
It's a dog.
It's a dog. But yeah, it's pretty fucked. I would imagine that if I was in a band, I wouldn't be happy with that. And like, if I was as talented as George Harrison was, I was like, I would be pretty pissed, man. I'd be like, what? But George is a quiet guy by nature, so maybe it worked out. But I don't know, man. It felt toxic to me while listening to their like kind of like, I mean, falling down this rabbit hole of interviews and stuff like that. And I mean, props to them for being able to write like 100 songs or something, right? Like 100 hits. I mean, just the two of them, basically, right? But I mean, you know, it's kind of bad, like to be like, hey, like, no, not a lot of input from you guys, just do it. Like when they were writing it, it's just the two of them, and I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, but it's cool though. I don't know. I just like the Beatles because they like, I don't know if they made culture, but like they definitely had a big impact on culture. And then you can see how like what the Beatles were into was reflected in what like the mainstream, like the mainstream like pop culture of the time was into. And then you can't help but think like if it's like the Beatles impacting like pop culture or just like
pop culture impacting them,
and then
like
but I think it's like interchangeable. Like
it's probably the former. Actually, I would argue that they push like, for pop like culture to change in a particular way,
like the whole hippie thing, you know, like where they just, the Beatles went to India and just started learning about Hinduism and then like talked about Krishna and shit like that in their music.
Yeah. No, I think they probably made it mainstream. I don't think it was like the first exposure to it, but I think they probably made it mainstream, if anything.
Yeah. That's the musician, bro. Like, their role is literally to just make songs, but they have such a big impact on like just the way people like see things, or the way like society, not society, but like the general like headspace of like people at the time. It's just like, it's huge, man. This guy just made songs. Like these guys.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And, like they were defining a generation, right? Like they were generations, even like different eras of teens and different eras of like you know, just the society. Like you said, like I mean, it is interesting to think of. I'm a believer that they were kind of the proponents of it instead of like being a product of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably right in saying that
they were both for sure. It was both for sure.
Yeah,
but it's just like their impact was so big that it's like they actually shaped just like, you know, culture basically.
Yeah. Michael, do you have any input into this?
This is Steve.
I have Michael on the call too.
Oh, Steve. What does Steve say? Yeah, Steve wants to know what your favorite Beatles song is. His is A Day in the Life.
Daily life is good.
Yeah. He'll tell you all about it.
Nice.
But what's your favorite Beatles song? Steve wants to know.
Mine or Michael?
No, yours, Mark.
I think Here Comes the Sun, probably my favorite.
Oh wait, he can't hear. Sorry.
Is that the name of the song? Here Comes the Sun.
Oh, he likes Here Comes the
Steve?
Sun. Oh, why? Could you like why? Why is it? Why is it a big deal for you?
I
Or,
mean,
why-
I think
why-
it's one of those songs that, like, even if I didn't understand English, I would understand what it meant. You know, like
yeah.
the guitars, the voice,
Mm.
the tone, the shadows it creates metaphorically, I suppose. It like reflects that motion of the sun beaming on you, right? And I think it's one of those songs which is like perfect in every way.
Really?
Yeah, and it's simple too in terms of like the lyrics, right?
Mm.
I think all Beatles songs are pretty simple lyrically. I don't think they're complex, and I think that's great. I think like you don't have to be technical with things, you know. It's just
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
it
That's
is
why.
what you feel.
That's why it's catchy. That's why a lot of people like it.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's probably my song, and probably
Anything else? Any other song that you'd pick?
like the original faster songs, like
I want to hold you.
8 days a week or something, or like
okay.
or like Help or something.
Help! I need somebody.
Help.
Yeah, man. My dad was such a big Beatles fan. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's his older brothers were like really into it, and
Yeah.
like, I remember he told me like one of his older brothers like would dress like George
The
Harrison.
Beatles. Oh
Like
shit!
George Harrison, like that was the guy's hero. Like he loved
Damn.
Like he loved two things, like Manchester United, the football club, and
Yeah.
George Harrison.
And then third, his wife.
And,
No, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. Yeah,
I don't
but
know
he
about
used to
that.
dress like George Harrison, and I think
Mhm,
yeah, I don't know. So you like the faster songs, right? I like
Yeah.
A Day in the Life. I think that shit.
Well, you can't copy Steve.
No, me and Steve think that the same way. We've been listening to the Beatles since we were 8, bro.
Right.
Yeah, like my
Right.
dad showed me and Steve like the Beatles.
Cool.
I don't know. Have you heard A Day in the Life?
Yeah, of course. You showed it to
Like
me.
you know the my favorite part where it
Yeah.
goes like the instrumental part that like gets fucked.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like as a kid, like I always thought that was like it sounded like death to me. That's why I was like and the first
I mean,
time I heard it, my
yeah.
dad showed me the first time I heard it, I think we were listening to it in the car, and I couldn't sleep that night because I was scared. And I
Yeah.
remember it so well. Like we were listening to it in the car, like it was raining. I lived in I think I was like 11, and then it was instrumental part that like went backwards. But it was I think in musical terms it's called like dissonance, which is like sounds that are supposed to like not sound good, but it's meant to like have like this effect. And
Yeah.
and like listening to it as an adult, it was really like it fits the vibe of like quarantine so well. Because
Right,
I think
right.
he's talking about like how life is like really mundane. And then he goes like, I'd love to turn you on, which is like he just feels like everyone is just like, well, this is like my reading of it is just like everyone is like kind of dead and shut down.
Yeah.
And then he goes like, but I love to turn you on. And then this like instrumental comes in and it's like and then for me I was just like I thought it was about death, but now I think it's about
I think
like,
it is.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I don't know if it was the lyrics, right? I don't remember the lyrics off by heart, but
Yeah.
it's either the lyrics or like a myth of like how it came to be. The song
Yeah.
is that one of
It's
the members
crazy.
read the newspaper that day,
Yeah.
and it was a
Dead
car
people.
crash.
Yeah.
It was a car crash or something, and then they were like inspired by that.
Yeah.
And I listened to Paul McCartney talk about making the song, and basically he walked into like an orchestra like setting,
Yeah.
right? Like with
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
people, yeah. And then he was trying to explain to them that be like, hey, at this point in the song, everyone just go from the lowest note to the highest note, but in your own speed.
Yeah. That's
So
fucked.
don't listen to the person next to you. Just go up in your own speed. So it could be like, or it could be right or whatever, right? And then apparently they got mad at him because like people in the orchestra can't operate like that. Like they have to be like it has to be like a system. So apparently, like the conductor had to be like, when you reach this point in the song, you have to hit this note. But like before that, you could hit any note.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's fascinating story, because like there's a whole section of the song which, like you said, is like scary.
It's like an instrument. It's scary, bro. It's so. It sounds like death. Like it sounds like. It sounds like. I think like when I die, that's probably gonna be what I hear.
Oh. You probably could hear nothing, but okay. You're
like
to me it's like when you're like falling into like a black hole or something. Like that's like the feeling that you get from that song. Death. And I think the contrast between the happy, the happy
lyrics,
go get it
even.
kind of the lyrics are nice too. That's good. I mean I was expecting that song to be your favorite.
That song was fucking so sick, bro.
It's very good.
It's a fucking. How the fuck did they come out with that shit? What the fuck?
Right.
I know acid. I know they did a lot of acid. Like that's for sure, 100%. They did like a tab a day or some shit.
Yeah.
Remember that song, The Walrus, and he goes like,
dude, it's fucking crazy.
Cuckoo. I was like, what the fuck? This is kind of sick.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, okay, like I hate it when people compare famous people these days with like, oh, they're the modern day Beatles. Like at one point they were like, One Direction's the modern day Beatles. I'm pretty sure right now they're like the BTS is the modern day Beatles. And I'm like, bro. Can you imagine BTS or whoever you're comparing them to making experimental music and expanding the music ethos, the environment, right? Like, do you imagine them doing that, or do you imagine them excelling in one direction and that's it? Like just excelling.
They're just good at what they do, man.
It,
yeah,
right?
they're just good at producing bangers.
But like, can you imagine though?
No,
like when you're
honestly,
comparing someone to the Beatles, you have to encompass everything.
No.
Like,
I don't think it's gonna be possible, honestly. Like for like, or it is possible for someone to like be like artistically at that level, but in terms of like acceptance of the mainstream or acceptance of pop culture or the impact that they're gonna have on culture, I think only the Beatles could do that. Like you could be experimental nowadays, but when you do become experimental, you are like compromising your selling point.
Yeah.
Like if you like you have to choose between, I feel like it's hard to like as an artist today, like there's like you have to kind of compromise your artistry if you want to be like relevant in the mainstream. Sure. Like you have to compromise it.
I wonder what was the reception in terms of like, you know, the Walrus shit and like because we're born a long time after, so we look at it as like a iconic, legendary, like what the fuck were you doing
at the time thing, right? Though? What the fuck were they thinking? Like the people who were listening to it, were they like, this is sick?
Yeah, was it like accepted and like they didn't care and they were famous anyways?
Yeah,
or
could
like,
you imagine? Like the Walrus thing being played on radio. Like you're just like you're just in a taxi and you just hear that shit. You'd be like, the fuck is going on? Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's the equivalent of like dumb music that like artists make these days, like sometimes, right? Like I remember when like Kanye made that I'm such a fucking hoe. And like shit like that, you know? Like I feel like on one side it's like them acknowledging that like they can do what the fuck they want. And like it's like I just want to, you know, fuck with the media. I just want to fuck with the masses.
Honestly though, like, but since you brought up Kanye, I think though that it's like Kanye is like one of the closest people to that level of like impact. Yeah,
expanding and actually impacting culture, right?
Yeah.
Like, remember when we were kids, the fucking glasses with the stripes on it?
Like during like graduation, like graduation era. Yeah. That shit was sick.
I was like, no, way before that. It was like like it was like 2010. Cause he wore the glasses with the slits in his glasses in.
I thought it was graduation because the that little Murakami bear.
Okay, I thought you meant our graduation. Okay.
Oh no.
You meant the album graduation.
No, album graduation.
Yeah. Okay.
Our graduation, he was already doing Life of Pablo, I think.
Yeah. No, not yet.
Not
It
yet.
was Jesus.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh
Jesus.
yeah. But yeah, I meant the album graduation, like that thing.
Yeah. But
I had one of those. I had one of those.
Oh no. Oh
yeah,
no.
I had one in like yellow or some shit.
Oh no. Oh no. Comment in the section below if you had a pair of those glasses.
I think a lot of people did, bro. It's sick.
I did it, so I have pride over that.
You weren't sick then.
You're
fucking getting
sick
bullied.
now.
You were getting bullied, man. I was
for sure. For sure. Okay, like it might seem like we're comparing Kanye to Beatles, but we're actually not. Like I think it's more of a relative thing, and I think the Beatles had a bigger impact.
Yeah, obviously. But it's the closest person that I can think of right now is that.
Right. Yeah. And like, not even Beyonce has impacted us. Like I was thinking like big names these days, right? Like not even her.
No, bro. I don't think like you said, like Lemonade, it was trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you know what I mean? Like but I feel like even her most like artsy shit didn't expand the genre. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
do know what you mean.
Her most like groundbreaking, like what the fuck are you doing, Beyonce?
Yeah.
It didn't have much of an impact. Like all it did was
it was still R&B.
It was still R&B with like a really nice video. That was Lemonade.
Yeah, it was mostly video.
Yeah, and it was about her. It was about her husband just being a fucking cheating on her.
Yeah. I think it was a substance. It was like the substance of it was like a female artist coming out and I think bashing.
It was more. Yeah, it was. I think it was more like the
feminist
the
significance of
it,
which is fair.
Yeah.
But I think art wise, it was like you said, like it was like pretty.
But I think Kanye did expand hip hop.
I think so too.
Like sampling was always a thing, but Kanye just made it like a bigger deal.
Yep. I agree. Fascinating.
Who else do you
think? See anyone else? Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, because everyone else who's like groundbreaking isn't relevant in the mainstream for our generation at least.
Yeah.
Anyone who's just doing crazy
I would
shit.
imagine that anyone behind the scenes probably, right? Like the producers that we don't know about, you know. Like I feel like Pharrell is one of those people too.
Pharrell's sick.
Pharrell has been in the business for so long, and he has impacted so many.
You know, this
genres.
guy's like our parents' age. Like,
yeah, he's like 40, 50 or something.
Yeah, this guy's old as fuck.
Yeah, but he has been there, and I would think that he has a lot of influence on like the culture moving forward. But I don't think not as much as Kanye or Beatles, obviously.
The Beatles, yeah. I think that's
done. I think the Beatles is like the pinnacle of like musical influence.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe Elvis too, but that was
I didn't know. I don't actually know a lot about Elvis.
I don't know too much too, but I would imagine that he did impact a whole generation. He impacted a whole culture. I would think so, because like that started off like the rock and roll kind of like kick.
True.
You know, I might be wrong. I might get all my dates wrong. Who the fuck cares? I'm a Gen Z, Gen fucking whatever I am. Gen Y, I don't know.
You're a Gen Z, bro. You're a Gen Z.
I'm a Gen Z. All right.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like I don't know shit. You can talk shit about me and offend me.
It's fine. They probably already do. Like it's fine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that's fascinating. I don't know. Who else?
No one else. The Beatles is it.
Yeah.
And just the fact that we're still talking about the Beatles today just goes to show like that it's 2022. I mean it's 2021. Like motherfuckers are still making podcasts about the Beatles. Like the Beatles, they like when did John Lennon die? When did George Harrison die? Like a while ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're still talking about it. They're still like at Walmart and shit, like the posters that they sell are still like the Beatles. And I'm just like,
Yeah. Abbey
that's
Road,
crazy.
still iconic.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking of Michael Jackson, but I don't think like to a degree he expanded the music, but also to a degree he didn't expand enough. Because it was like it's still distinctively Michael Jackson music, if that makes any sense. Like it's like no one has ever like replicated it to some degree, but also like it was
That
just
guy's
his
iconic,
type.
though, yeah.
It's iconic, but it's like his type, you know. But like the Beatles were just like
They
it was
just-
everything.
they
It
expanded,
was like what, yeah, like it was experimental to a very far extent.
Yeah.
But Michael kind of just stuck to it, I feel.
Yeah. Michael just
but-
was very good at what he did.
Yeah.
Like Michael was just like Michael made like he created a genre.
Yeah.
Or not create a genre, but like he made like a
I think
pop.
he created a genre.
Really?
Like
Yeah.
like cuz by the time he made like Remember the Time or whatever it's called, Remember the Time
Yeah.
we fell in love. It was like his music at that point. Like
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
he owned that shit.
Yeah.
Which I can't say BTS or anything has created because I feel like it's just K-pop to me at least. Like it's just like a extension of K-pop. If they in the future years they push through the barrier of K-pop and make their own shit, great, dude. Full respect to you.
There's
guys,
actually I've actually like a lot of people or like my friends who are into K-pop have shown me like these artists that like as they get like when they enter their 30s, like they're not gonna be like boy band shit.
They don't
anymore,
care
you know
anymore.
what I mean?
Yeah.
They just then they do like weird artsy shit and it's
Right.
sick. Like some of it's actually like really good. But but
yeah, I've heard
for the
I've heard
most
same.
part they just stop becoming relevant, honestly.
Yeah. Which is like the edge, right? But like the Beatles was relevant until they broke up. like that's fucking crazy. Like they were relevant full on.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, man. Like you, in terms of expanding the culture and being able or brave enough to expand the genre.
Do you
or
think
the
they
music.
I think they just didn't give a shit.
You have to be
and they
relevant.
just did what I think
I don't
they
think
just
they give a
didn't
shit.
And
from the
they
beginning.
weren't trying to be
beginning.
relevant. Yeah, they just liked what they did.
Yeah, like literally, like if you think about it, right? It was four lads from Liverpool, and they got famous overnight. And it's just a couple boys, like they were 19, 20. Like what was their age?
They're like a bit
it was
younger
like
than
young.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, and like they blew up. And it was based on their artistry, like their music. Like no one influencing it, like too much at least. But it was like their shit.
Yeah, that's like respect to that, like honestly. Because I feel like a lot of like at least how the music industry has gone these days is that like a lot of artists like starting out follow a certain formula that the record labels and stuff like they have so much like say in their image, what they can say and stuff like that to like make money, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's sick. Like the K-pop music that I like listening to, like a lot of them didn't write it. Most of them didn't write it, actually. Like they had like some creative input, but most of it is like corporations and shit like that.
Definitely.
So it's
We
just
have
like,
a whole episode about K-pop in the Blackpink episode. Just go search it up. Blackpink, Balcony AUX Chord or whatever. We talk about it in full extent, K-pop. But I definitely agree with you. Like there's not a lot of artistry in
But-
that yet.
But I think what is good about our era is that to make music is like not as expensive now. Like you don't need like we were talking to Matt about like bedroom producers, right?
Yeah.
Like guys like Matt, like this motherfucker.
Also go check out that video.
Yeah.
This
motherfucker, like Matt doesn't have Matt's studio is like his house with like gear that he bought, you know, and and he's making music with like software. He doesn't need to go to a studio or anything to produce like the level of music that he's doing. And I feel like
right.
that's like the advantage of people
era.
now, like
Yeah,
our
definitely.
era, is that like
Yeah.
talent doesn't have to. You don't have to be lucky like the Beatles.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
I
mean?
guess. Like, no, maybe, Findy, maybe. Like, I
think-
feel like
I
it
think
doesn't.
it's a
It
lot
doesn't
of
take
luck,
much to
man.
get famous too, though. Like these days, like it doesn't get much to get famous. Like, there's not a lot of substance in current mainstream media where I can say that, like, oh yeah, they
got
it's
lucky?
pure skill. Like, it's just pure skill. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like to me is like is also luck.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
terms of
yeah,
like
yeah.
talking to the right
Yeah, of
people,
course, of
having the
course.
right agents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No,
but
okay.
but it's still really a lot easier though.
Yeah,
these
yeah.
days,
I mean,
to
obviously,
just make
but-
shit.
But let me put it on the record, and I hope Matt is listening to this episode. I feel that
He's
Matt
not, bro. This guy, motherfucker,
Probably.
he's playing League right now with my roommate.
motherfucker. But I think that Matt Young can be famous, like actually famous, and like getting like a lot of money and being played at concerts if he marketed himself
As an Asian
He's
artist.
Filipino.
Yeah.
Yeah, as an Asian artist in the Philippines or in Thailand, for example, right? Because in Thailand, there's artists which I'm like, how the fuck are you famous, man? Like, how? Like, even the ones that that sing in English, like there's this one girl, I'm just gonna say her name because we're never gonna have her on here. V Violette, right? I think she's a
trash.
cute girl,
She's kinda
but she's
trash.
trash. Like to me,
Yeah, I think
like
her music's trash.
Her voice reminds me of every girl in high school who sang at any level. Like
There's nothing
any
special.
girl in my international school who decided to sing at like any talent show sounds like her, right? And the music that she's writing herself is like fucking basic, dude. It's like about like love, like lovey-dovey, like basic lyrics and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, I was thinking the other day, I was like, maybe I should start writing music because like if this shit could get famous, I feel
don't
like
have to-
anyone can.
You know, you're not as cute as she is, though, man. And in
That's true.
In Thailand, it's like
That's true.
Like
It means a lot more.
Like if Poom wasn't talented, he wouldn't be famous.
I mean, he's pretty cute though.
I don't know, man. Like I think he's like average looking. You know what I mean?
Right,
but his like, I think it's like mostly talent for that guy.
Of course, yeah. And I think that's good in terms of like music because
But
we're rating this on a music scale, right?
Yeah, but he's like like it's not common
Yeah.
because most people just get
And-
famous for like the
Yeah, but he's
their
marketed
image.
himself in a way that has been an Asian artist, right? And like a rising Asian artist,
yeah.
like
And you think that
indie,
Matt,
indie Asian artist. But then Matt has at least to a spectator view, it seems as he's just promoting himself as like a bedroom producer among the many in America,
Yeah.
or Canada, right? Canadian markets.
I agree with
But it has to be more distinctive, picked up by
Yeah.
maybe like an Asian kind of background, let it push forward a little bit more. And to some degree, there's a problem of Asian artists being capped within the Asian market only.
Yeah.
So like there's examples of like Dumbfounded. I don't know if you know Dumbfounded. He's friends with Anderson .Paak. There's a couple more in like 88 Rising and stuff like that, which have been capped at a level where like only Asians listen to it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a problem there, but I feel like it's better than you know, gambling your way
true.
into
I
being
definitely
famous,
agree.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
on the
Matt-
record, Matt, I
needs
believe
to-
that you can do it because you're
Yeah, Matt
fucking
needs to-
talented, my guy. But I think, you know, if you market yourself in a smaller market, you'll be the bigger fish. If that makes any more sense. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
uh,
I think
and
he's
you'll-
already kind of doing that a little bit.
good. That's good
Because
to hear.
like he's been making music with his high school friend who is she's Manila based.
Yeah, that's cool.
So at least like but I definitely agree like he could be like, you know how like nowadays there's this like sort of market, you know, like Adoy, the band, the Korean band.
Annoying.
Yeah,
No,
it's sick. I guarantee you've heard some songs.
Okay,
It's like it's pretty big, like pretty Asian big, I guess.
sure.
And like just,
Asian big's still kind of small, eh?
no, bro. There's so many more people in Asia than.
I was talking about something else.
Oh, what are you talking about? Just feet sizes?
Penis.
Oh, penis? What's that?
Oh no, never seen
Steve, you ever heard of that, bro? What's a
it. Hey,
penis?
Michael, how big's your dick? You Asian? Probably small.
No, but yeah. But I was just talking about this thing of like Pumipurit, like a lot of people in 88 Rising. What else? Like those like like those Korean, like indie R&B like bands and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I think like if Matt could like penetrate that market, he's like more like just as talented, if not more talented than those people. Like the music that he makes,
Right.
like it's on the same level, if not better.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, you kind of remind me of bands like Prep and Han.
Yeah, Asian
fucking.
Asian
But
famous.
they're
so
they
smart.
entered the Asian market.
Yeah,
But they peaked. No, they peaked at an Asian market level.
Yeah.
Though, Findy. Like what I was saying about you're getting capped.
yeah.
Which is fine because there's a lot of people in Asia. Because I think that might
shit
be
ton
a
of
bigger
Asian
market,
people.
actually.
Yeah,
But there's a danger of being capped at like a certain market because like you're targeting a particular sound at this point, right? But I think that's fine. I feel like everyone needs like a place to belong, and like if the Western market isn't accepting to their sound, then like that's good. That means someone else cares. That's fine.
But I feel like with that, the thing that you were talking about though, like a lot of guys like Pumipurit, like a lot of like these and a lot of like Korean bands and shit like that, they do find like whenever they come to shows here, at least in Vancouver, it's like it's always sold out.
Right.
Because
Vancouver is basically Hong Kong.
But like I know that's true. But there are like sort of like soft Asian boys, everywhere.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like the Asian diaspora community is like everywhere, and like they could come through that. Like
dude, fucking, I went to Mac Air's concert in Vancouver. And the whole concert, there was just Filipinos.
Yeah, like, bro. It's the sounds we like.
I look like one of you guys. I look like every one of you guys.
I feel like Southeast Asians or like just like Asian people living in like North America, we like a certain sound. Like, and I don't know what about it.
Definitely.
But like we like a certain sound. Like Korean people, they love like R&B, like hip hop beats. You know what I mean? Like lo-fi hip-hop beats to like R&B music. The Korean people love that shit. Korean people go crazy for that shit.
They eat that shit up.
They eat that shit up. It's like, it's such a, it's like a taste thing.
Right. Exactly. Which I guess brings us back full circle, saying that, we're all human. I think we should all understand each other. I think as Asians, we need to understand each other more. That we're all the same, basically. Yeah. Like white people think that we are all the same.
Yeah, we actually are.
We're human. I think we should think about it like that. Yeah. And on that note, on this podcast, we have a tradition of sharing music with the audience. Because we have this music circle thing going on, right? Like we like to...
Yeah, we actually talked about music today, bro. Congrats.
Yeah, great.
We haven't for a while.
I feel good about myself. I mean... It's always nice to talk about music, but I know that a lot of you guys are scared off by the topic of music a lot of the times because you guys aren't that into music, but you guys want to listen to us talk. So like I get it. I'm trying to find like a middle ground for you guys.
Who wants to listen to us talk, bro? No one.
No, I feel like some like maybe like two people.
Yeah,
two people
like
listen to us.
We're doing this for you guys.
We're doing it for you guys, literally. Like, we don't get a lot of views on these videos, like, maybe, like, 20. But, like, I'm really thankful that you guys do come back and listen every week. And it's important to us, because it keeps us going. Afindi, have you found your music?
Yeah, I found my music.
Talking.
Go man. You want me to go for it?
No, you go for it.
All right, I'll go for it. So, my first one is by this Asian artist. Or like a British artist, but like of Japanese descent. Her name's Rina Sawayama. She's fucking dope.
She's like, fucking dope.
This bitch is like crazy. Like, can I talk about? I'm gonna talk about her for a minute. She
sure.
Her like album. I don't know if you'll like it, but it's a experimental pop album,
Nice.
which is completely, actually, it's not really, it's like consistent but not consistent.
Yeah.
Like it goes
Yeah.
from genre to genre, but there's a weird way that she ties it together, which makes it like coherent and like makes
Yeah.
sense. But I'm gonna recommend this whole album, and the album is called
Recommend.
Sawayama.
Sawayama.
Yeah, which is like her
Cool.
last name. And my
Cool,
favorite
cool, cool,
song on
cool,
that
cool.
album is the first song is Dynasty. And the other one is from the trailer of Dune, the movie that's gonna come out like I think this summer. And
Cool.
it's like Hans Zimmer's interpretation of Eclipse by Pink Floyd.
Oh, okay.
You know Hans
Yeah.
Zimmer. You know Hans Zimmer.
Yeah,
But
yeah, of
he,
course.
he made a Pink Floyd song.
That's crazy.
And it's fucking sick. But yeah, that's it for me.
Huh. Great. I have a song called "How Come?" by Stray Fossa, and I don't have a second song, man. I haven't been that inspired by most songs. Well, I've been listening to, I've been watching the live performance of Phil Collins lately. In the
You're
Air
still on
tonight,
that?
classic song. Yeah. Well, I haven't been listening to music. I've been so busy, man. Like I listen to podcasts during my study time and stuff. Like
That's crazy that you
But,
can do that.
I don't know. Yeah, it does happen. So for anyone who's listening, you know, listen to us while you're doing something else. Like, let's be honest here, right? Like you know, I don't expect you to watch us for the full hour. Like, do something else. Like, play games, check your Instagrams while you listen to this shit. You know, it's always nice. Anyhow, thank you for talking to me today, Finny. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Listeners.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please
Hey, we're almost
subscribe.
at 70.
We're at 69.
We're almost at 70.
subscribers.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
get us to 70, and the next mark will be 80, 90, 100. Of course, but we'd love to grow
million?
this channel a little bit more. Yeah.
A million.
Um.
LMAO.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.